Once again, good evening, everyone. Today we are discussing research ethics. Like I told you yesterday when I was discussing data collection, I told you research ethics is very essential in research. And it's what we are looking at today in the details of everything. Just to be attentive and get the presentation. So these are our lecture objectives for today. One, to define research ethics and other related terms. Two, to discuss the key principles and general principles in research ethics. Number three, to discuss the importance of research ethics in academic and scientific research. Four, to discuss how ethics can be ensured at different steps in research. We shall see another objective, though I haven't included it here. We're going to see how we can apply research ethics in different methodologies of data collection. So, to start with, terms related to research ethics, these refer to the moral principles and guidelines that govern the conduct of research. I've said they are the moral principles and guidelines that govern the conduct of research. This is a must. As a researcher, you must observe research ethics. It is a must. Observe the moral principles and guidelines. Find out what are the ethics concerning my study. Are you going to collect people's blood samples? You get it? But remember initially when I was beginning this module, we began with the introduction and then we went to the research design. Research design is the way you're going to structure your research. And then that is then ensured in the research protocol, or you can call it the research proposal. So in your research proposal, you must have a section of ethical consideration. You must have that section of ethical consideration. How are you going to consider the ethics of your research? You must indicate that section. And then the second definition is ethical review board. This board is very important because it is the one which receives your research proposal. They tell you where to change in case there are necessary changes. They tell you whether to go on and collect the data or first make sure you change this. Sometimes they even send away the topic. They tell you, please, Mr. Investigator, change the topic. This is unnecessary. Usually, a topic might be necessary. However, according to your field, you cannot conduct such research. Last time I remember I told you, in case you are a nurse, why did you do a research from the dental profession? Don't do on dentals. Do research in nursing in case you are a nurse. You get it? So, it is an independent committee responsible for reviewing and approving research protocols. The word protocol is substituted for the word proposal. A proposal, you are trying to request it for something, and the word protocol means that you're trying to make protocol, you're trying to illustrate the steps that you're going to follow in your research. Then research means conduct, that is any unethical behavior or violation of research integrity, such as plagiarism, publication of data, falsification of results, and any other misconduct in research. Going to the next slide. I don't know whether it has changed on your screen. Yes, very good. This is on the key principles in research ethics. Obtaining, avoid misleading practices, and providing the right to withdraw. These principles, don't worry, they are given in detail in the next slide. So, the first key principle governing research ethics is minimizing the risk of harm. It is necessary to minimize any sort of harm to your participants. Do not harm your participants. Even if you're going to collect blood, you're going to perform this research on blood samples. Do not harm your participants. Ensure that they are not going to face any harm. And in case there is some risk, find ways of mitigating that risk. The principle is not avoid the risk. The principle is minimize risk. I repeat, do not just avoid the risk, but minimize, because you cannot ensure that there are not going to be risks there. That is the truth. Because the scientific research you're going to make on human participants, so you will not give us guarantee that you will not have any risk. However, your guarantee relies on minimization of risks. You indicate for us that you're going to have minimal risks. So there are a number of forms of harm that the participants can be exposed to. One, bodily harm to contributors, those ones who are ready to give you their blood samples. Are you going to harm them? Okay, you're going to inject them somewhere and get blood. Do you have any mitigation procedure? Second way is psychological agony and embarrassment. Are you embarrassing your participants? How are you interviewing them? How are you living their psychology? Aren't you going to leave them harmed mentally? You get it? Aren't you going to just increase the stress in case there are already cases of a certain condition? Because you might find them when there are cases of a condition, for example, lung cancer, and then you just increase the stress in them. There are cases of HIV/AIDS. Yes, they have volunteered to participate in your research. How are you going to live with them? Under which condition, according to their mental health, are you going to live with them? Minimize the risk of harm. Then another way is a social drawback. That is, aren't you going to just make them separated from their colleagues? Aren't you going to cause social isolation? This is all to do with mental health. You get? So minimize the risk of harm. I have said social drawback. That is, and you guys try to minimize the way they are going to be engaged with their colleagues. Because at some point, when they go back to their colleagues, are they going to socialize well? You get it? Won't they be discriminated in a way that you go away for you participated in the other study? You get it? Another way is a violation of the participants' confidentiality and privacy. That is, you disclose their information. That is, in case that is violating confidentiality, we're going to see the details of it. When you disclose their participants' information, that's not a confidential study. Then privacy, are you going to do in an open place? Are you going to do from a community? There you are violating privacy. Ensure that you're doing from a private area, so that your participants you have a private conversation with them. The second principle is obtaining informed consent. Informed consent means that the person knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently gives consent to participate in a research. What do we mean? Explain each and every bit of the research to the participant. Ensure that they have known, understood what you have explained. Ensure that you do not force them to participate in this study. However, they should just take this voluntarily. They should voluntarily accept to participate in your study. And then intelligently ensure that your participants have a decision-making capacity. Whereby, are they minors? Minors, those are the children below the constitutional age. Are they disabled people? Are they able to understand what you're saying? In case they are not able, you do not force them to participate in your study. Proceed to their caretakers. Ensure that they have understood. Ensure that they voluntarily accept their people to participate in the study intelligently when they know everything. Then informed consent means that the participant should be well informed about the first introduction, purpose, and objective of the research. Introduce the research to them. Introduce what you're going to do. What is the purpose of this study? What are the objectives of this study? One. Secondly, anticipate the advantages, benefits, or harm from the research. Are they going to benefit in any way? Should they expect anything? You get it? What are the advantages of you carrying out this research? Okay, what if I don't accept to participate in your study? You get it? Am I going to lose anything? You get it? Other people who have not participated in this study, are they going to lose anything? You get it? In case there is something to lose, that research is not ethical. No one should be losing something because they're not participating in your study. No one should be, there should not be that way of bribing, that you're bribing the participants. Third, methods which will be used to protect anonymity and the confidentiality of the participant. How are you going to ensure that the information they are giving you is going to be secure? Will other people know about me? We are going to see this principle in detail. It is a full principle about anonymity and confidentiality. These are all information to be included in your consent form. Then the fourth, freedom not to answer any question or withdraw from the research. This is also a full principle. What if I withdraw from the research? You get it, me as a participant. Okay, the question you have asked, I'm not ready to answer it. Me as a participant, I have that right. That the question you have asked is challenging me, and if I'm not ready to answer it. Well, of course, it depends on how you're handling your participant. We're going to see all this procedure in the subsequent slides. The way you approach your participant to ensure that they be ready to give you any information, and to ensure that they do not tell you lies anywhere. Because research relies on truth. That's it. Because these are facts. Then another one is who to contact if the participants need additional information about the research. When we are discussing research methods too, I'll give you structures of these informed consent forms. Very many examples I have for these consent forms. I'll try to display them on my screens, and you'll be able to see how you can best structure your informed consent form. We shall see the essential components and how you can give details of this information I have illustrated on this slide. Another principle is protecting anonymity and confidentiality. One, anonymity. This means keeping the participant anonymous, whereby it involves not to reveal the name, caste, or any other information about the participant that may reveal his or her identity. In other words, we use codes during research to identify these participants. Do not in any way try to produce something that is not coded. Do not produce their names. You get it? That's what we mean by anonymity. Disclosure. Is there, if I read through your findings, shall I be able to find out that this is Mr. Kato Alex Mare that gave you this data? You get it? Then maintaining confidentiality, it refers to ensuring that the information given by the participants are confidential and not shared with anyone except the research team. Meaning, introduce the research team before any ongoing research study. Tell them that I'm doing this research with other colleagues. They have gone into other areas. However, the colleagues, their names, one is called this and this. He is from this area and he's in this profession. You get it? This puts in trust. This makes the participant to trust you, the investigator. So it is also about keeping the information secretly from other people. Avoid misleading practices as a principle. The researcher should avoid all deceptive and misleading practices that may misinform the respondent. This includes avoiding all the activities, for example, communicating wrong messages. Do not communicate wrong messages to your participants. Do not give them false assurance. Sometimes people do these studies and tell their participants that, you see, if you accept to participate in this study, we are going to bring these and these buildings to your village. You get it? Oh, we are going to put your child in school and your child will study on free bursaries. You get it? False assurance. That is bribing. Do not give false information to your participant and any other information in this category or any other misleading practices. Then the other principle is providing the right to withdraw. Participants have the right to withdraw at any point of the research, so long as they are not comfortable with any ongoing procedure. You get it? Yes, they have that right. And please, in your informed consent form, you must illustrate this. I will give you samples of these informed consent forms when you reach research methods as a model. They should not be stressed or forced in any manner to try to discipline you from withdrawing. Please, in case anyone is not okay with the ongoing procedure and they say they are trying to withdraw, please allow them to withdraw because they have that right. However, like I told you, it also depends on the way you handle these participants, because this research usually we make usually we need the information, that is for sure. Yet the information you're going to give the participants, it is hard to take that information out of them. You get it? But it is very crucial. You get it? Usually participants do not want to participate in studies that have that procedure of taking away their blood samples. Usually they do not want. However, we need those results. You get it? Someone wants to do something on concentration of heavy metals in blood. However, you need someone's blood and you want to tell them their results after, how they are at a risk of cancer. You get it? However, someone is like, hey, you're going to inject me? No. You get it? However, remember, we need that information. It is very important. Therefore, how are you going to handle this participant to give you their blood? It matters a lot. You get it? So handle them well, and please, even if you're going to do something that might cause some pain, do it gently as a skilled health professional. You get it? Then the general principles of research ethics. These now are general principles. The other ones are very key principles. Honesty and integrity. Be honest to your participants. Tell them the right information, and please behave as a professional. Behave as a professional. Integrity. How are you presenting yourself to the general public? In case you're going to perform any medical procedure, like taking your blood samples, dress well. Put on your clinical coat. Put on gloves. You get that is now integrity reflected with professionalism. And then obtain informed consent. I've talked about this. Respect your participant. Respect in their category. You get it? Do not just use them because they are vulnerable in that context. Some people come and say, you see, if you have HIV/AIDS, you have to accept and participate in this study, or else you will not be helped. That is using vulnerability as a chance to ensure that they participate in the study. You get it? So whatever category they are in, whatever level of susceptibility, respect your participant. Then beneficiency, try to ensure that your research is advantageous to the individual, to the community, and to the science world. Non-maleficence, do not harm your participants. Do not harm your participants. That's what we mean there. Responsible publication. How are you going to publish the findings of this study? We can publish in a medical journal. We can publish at the district or state administrations. We can publish in newspapers, so long as it is an authentic research or research project. So that is responsible publication. Protecting anonymity. I talked about this. It's a full principle, as well as confidentiality. I talked about this as key principles. Justice, meaning do not be over biased on one side. Try to resolve all conflicts that may come up from the findings of this study. Then importance of research ethics. These promote the aims of the research. Colleagues, you will excuse me if I'm speedy. Let me try to regulate. Under the importance, these promote the aims of research. Aims of research, you must consider, you must perform an ethical research. You must perform an ethical research. That is an aim of research, and other aims which are in line with that. But number one is ethical. It increases trust among the researcher and the respondent. Whenever you have governed the ethics of your participant, they will trust you and they will give you all the information that you need. I told you there's some information that is really, really confidential in people's lives, and someone's like, I cannot tell you this. You get it? However, if you give them the details of the ethics of this research, how are you going to ensure their confidentiality and the privacy? They will give you this information. They will trust you. You get it? Protect the dignity, rights, and welfare of your participants. Do not just because they are sometimes women. I'm not saying all of them, but there is this example of, because I'm a woman who is making this investigation, it will be easy for me to get information from a man. I don't know whether you get it. Some investigators can use that chance. Now I'm going to handle men because I'm ladies. They'll give me the information I want. No one will deny. After all, every man would love to talk to a woman. You get? Oh, because I'm a man, it will be easier for me to get information out of a lady. Please, dignity. Another one, right to withdraw. You get? And then the welfare of the participants. So what research ethics does, it protects all of these. Then researchers can be held accountable and answerable for their actions. That is when they presented the ethical consideration and ethical procedure in their research proposal. We can refer to that and we hold these researchers accountable and answerable for any action that is done during the research process. The research ethics promote ambitions of the research, for example, understanding veracity and dodging of error. Try to minimize error. We discussed about all of these. And the key principles are the ambitions of research. I repeat, the key principles are the ambitions of research. We have discussed the 5 key principles in research ethics. The other importance is ethical standards uphold the values that are vital to cooperative work, such as belief, answerability, and mutual respect. Respect of one another, belief and trust, and then answerability, that is these participants to give you the information you want. You want this information. It is very important. You get it. Yes. How to ensure ethics at different steps of research. 1. Collect the facts and talk over intellectual belongings openly. In case, do not be hiding any information. And then detect any affected parties, that is in case there is any. In case you identify these affected parties, you'll be able to get in and try to resolve something in case it wasn't resolved. And then recognize responsibilities. Who is responsible for this? Now, we have researches whereby there are very many people who are collaborating. You might want to perform your research when you have very many collaborators. And these ones are like co-authors or co-investigators. Assign them responsibilities and recognize them recognize them in that area. That was just a by the way. However, here, principles, rights, and justice, try to find out that they are ensured in this category. That is a strategy to ensure ethics are applied at different steps in research. Respect privacy and confidentiality, meaning do not collect someone's information from any open place. Try to be in a closed area. Try to interview these participants. They give the information, and that will be already a principle achieved. Confidentiality, do not identify them by their names, meaning some other person who will read through your data sheet will not be able to identify that this data belongs to Mr. Kato Alex Mare. Is the one who gave us this information. You get it? Confidentiality. You must also, still about the respect of privacy and confidentiality, try to lock your work. In case it is the work is in soft copy, it is on a flash drive. Try to lock it with a password such that it's only you and other authorized people that can access this work. Or even if it is a hard copy work you collected by pen, try to keep it somewhere where it is safe and it's only you and other authorized people that can access this work. And then another strategy is resolve on the appropriate ethical action and doing to deal with the divergent point of view. In case there is anything that comes up, be ready to deal with it, and they shall have ensured research ethics at all the steps of this research. The advantages of research ethics, how do they help us in research? 1, they protect participants' rights. I think this one is clear now. Integrity and worthiness, to ensure that is professionalism. Now, I told you, integrity is reflected with professionalism. Worthiness, are you worthy to carry out that research? You are a nurse, why do you do a dental procedure or a surgery research procedure? Integrity, professionalism. The other advantage is compliance with the regulations. Try to find out the regulations for a particular country and then or a particular group of humanity or culture, and then comply with those regulations. That's an advantage with the ethics. It also comply with the regulations as we are given by as we are illustrated in the research protocol. Avoidance of bias and conflict of interest. Ethics help us to avoid bias. It helps us to ensure that our work is not based on a certain group of individuals. In other words, you have not produced skewed results. And then try to avoid the conflict of interest. This usually comes from our co-authors or co-investigators, the people we work with. Are they providing any conflict of interest? You get it. Advantage of ethics is that it tries to avoid that. Then contribution to knowledge and society. research ethics ensure that the research you're going to carry out will add something to the available information or available knowledge. The other advantage is to examine ethical considerations in various research methodologies. I've told you, I provided the research procedure, how they can be ensured among research methodologies. I provided them in the subsequent slides. One, ethics in experimental studies. Now, this is what I've been talking about. These are research methodologies. We saw everything under research designs. We saw everything. So, ethics in experimental studies. These studies, like because I told you everything, involve manipulating variables to observe their effects on outcomes. Therefore, ethical considerations in experimental studies, these include obtain the informed consent from the participants, let them consent, try to explain to them what you're going to do, give them all the information about the study, make them understand, ensure that they have a decision-making capacity, and ensure that they are intelligent enough to decide between what you have told them to either participate or decline the participation. Ensure voluntary participation. Do not force someone into participation. Ensure that they accept voluntarily after being informed. You get. And then another way of ethical consideration in experimental studies is minimize risks and providing debriefing after the study. Try, in case you have formed an experiment and it needs further procedure on those individuals, try to direct them on what is next. Therefore, researchers must also consider the potential harm that participants may experience as a result of the experimental manipulation. You see, in experiments, we are trying to test something. We are trying to test this new drug. I gave examples of all of these topics. In case you were not around in this lecture, please look for that video. It was uploaded. Watch this lecture and understand the research designs. I think the title of that lecture is called Research Designs, according to the video uploaded. In my lecture, the title is Research Designs. And then I think even the same way on the uploaded video. Therefore, look for that lecture, watch it, and understand all these research methodologies. Ethics in survey studies as another research methodology. So surveys are commonly used to gather data from a large number of participants. We perform this survey usually with the questionnaires. We administer questionnaires. Either we as the investigators or we just give participants these questionnaires and they answer them by themselves. So long as they can read and write. Read, understand, and write. We just give them the questionnaire, they read and then answer. In case they don't have that capacity, I can ask them as the investigator, myself as the answer. Yesterday we saw the different types of questions that can be asked in a questionnaire. Just in case I can repeat, we have those ones which are structured, meaning I give the opinions. You get it? And from which, what was your highest level of education? I give options. Primary, secondary, tertiary. That is for structured question. And then semi-structured, I give options. However, in case someone does not rely on any of the options I gave, I can provide another alternative. For example, what is your level of education? Primary, tertiary, primary, secondary, tertiary. Then I put a fourth option of, in case you don't apply to others, to the above, please specify. You get it. You have seen such questions. And then the other third type, the unstructured, I do not give options. I just ask what was your highest level of education, and someone fills anything they want. Those are survey studies that we apply these questionnaires. Therefore, ethical considerations in survey research, these include ensuring confidentiality and anonymity of responses, obtaining informed consent. I think I've talked about these ones and we are good at them. That's why I'm just running through them. Minimize any potential harm or discomfort to your participants. Researchers must also consider the accuracy and reliability of survey data. I talked about accuracy and reliability. Accuracy gives us valid work once you are accurate, meaning it doesn't mean that your work is error-free, but it has minimal errors. It is very very rare to produce work which has no errors, but minimized. You get it? So if you consider the accuracy, you will produce valid work. That is work with minimal errors. and your work will then be reliable, meaning other people can rely on the data and perform even secondary studies, or even or even give a reference to your work. So, and avoid leading or biased questions that may influence responses. Do not ask a question that may influence a certain response. You get it? Ask a direct question which is not biased. You get it? Yes. I think you know the biased questions. What is your favorite meat type? That is a direct question. It is not biased. But a biased question can be like this: is your favorite meat type red meat? You get it? Of course, someone will tell you, okay, you love red meat. You get it? Much as it wouldn't be their favorite food type. You get it? That's what I mean by a leading question. A leading question is that question which has its own answer within the very question. You get it? Yes. And then ethics in interviews. Interviews involve direct interactions with participants to gather in-depth information. I think we know what happens in interviews. We just try to have an interactive session. Usually, I can even just put my sound recorder and record the interview session. We just have an interactive session. You get it? I just try to ask some questions. The participant answers. They give their view. You get it? That's the difference between an interview and a questionnaire. They give what they think. You get it? Yes. Now, the major difference. Okay, let me make this clear. For a questionnaire, your questions are already indicated there on your paper or on your tablet or on your smartphone. But for an interview, you can ask questions depending on the participants' responses. You get it? For a questionnaire, we can ask you question 1, what is your age group? What is your, how old are you? They tell us their age. We go to question 2. Do you eat this and this type of food? You get? They accept. Is this do you have your both parents alive? You get it? They accept or decline. That's a questionnaire. But for an interview, I can ask how old are you? Someone tells you that I'm 59 and they're a female. You will start now asking questions in line with the post-menopausal periods. Those women who are already beyond their menopause. Because she has said she's 59 years and you're sure now she's out of she has already hit menopause. You get it? That's what I mean by the difference between a questionnaire and interview. Let me repeat to avoid any grievances. I've said the questionnaire, your questions are already indicated somewhere and you're following that list of questions. For an interview, you will ask the first question, the individual responds. But the second question can be in line with the previous answer. You get it? The second question will be in line with the previous answer. That is the difference between an interview and a questionnaire. Now, ethical considerations in interview. Obtain an informed consent. Let the individual be explained everything of the steps in the study, and then they understand and accept to participate in your research study. Then the other consideration is respect your participants' autonomy and privacy. Autonomy is a self-acceptance to participate in your study. Remember, I told you we have minor groups, those ones which do not have the decision-making capacity. In other words, those ones which are not autonomous. Autonomy is a self, but we have those groups which are not autonomous, the diseased, the children below the year, the age, the constitutional age. You get it? I'm saying constitutional age because different countries have different ages of adulthood. Yes, different countries have different ages of adulthood. So each constitution of that country defines its age for adulthood. But generally, it has always been 18 years. Generally, across many societies, it's 18 years. So respect their autonomy, self-acceptance. In the case they cannot accept, ensure you reach out to their caretakers and ensure their privacy. Then another consideration, maintain confidentiality. Ensure that the participants are not deceived in any way or even coerced. Do not coerce your participants to participate in your study. You get it? Just have a neutral language, talk to them, and then they understand and they accept willingly to participate in your study. You get it? I guess I'm clear. Can someone let me know if everything is clear? I just want someone to let me know if everything is clear. If I'm being heard very well, it's all of you. Let me continue now. Another way, I've talked about that. And now, researchers must consider power dynamics in the interview process and strive to establish trust and rapport with the participants. Other things are understandable in this statement, I think, apart from the word rapport. A rapport. You're saying that word rapport. Yes. Rapport, you try to obtain that mutual relationship with your participant. You're trying to obtain that mutual relationship with your participant. This is the word I'm talking about.
I'm highlighting it. I guess you can see it.
I'm highlighting it. Okay. Yes, I was saying I'm highlighting that word rapport. I don't know that it's highlighted there. However, I'm trying to ensure that you understand it. Rapport, I've said, it is that mutual relationship you build between you and your participant. You get it, eh? Yes. To ensure that they give you the information you want. Like that. Okay, proceeding to the next slide, that is ethics in observational research. I talked about all of these designs, that's why I'm not giving details. Yeah, go and revisit that lecture on research design and understand each and every methodology. However, observational research involves observing and recording behavior in natural settings. Yes. Ethical considerations in observational research may include obtaining informed consent when possible, protecting the privacy and anonymity of individuals being observed. I think I've over talked about anonymity and privacy, and we are seeing that it is essential in all methods. You get it? Minimizing intrusion into participants' lives. Do not overgo into the secrecy of their lives. You get it? Ask questions which do not go deep. That's now observational studies. I'm quoting this statement: obtaining informed consent when possible. When I was discussing observational research, we saw that since here we just try to observe, you can go on just observing what's happening in that area. That's why I'm putting the word if possible or when possible. There are some observational studies that do not require obtaining informed consent. You just want to go and see what is happening. But still, you're not obtaining informed consent from your participants, but you might have have been allowed by the administration of that area. If it is a village, visit the LC1, the chairperson of that village. If it is a sub-county, a state, a municipality, go to the administration and be accepted to carry out your observational study. That's why I put this statement in a way of obtaining informed consent when possible. Then another strategy is ensuring that observations are conducted ethically and respectfully. Ethical and when you try to observe, do not try to intervene into people's activities that they are doing. You get it? However much they do not have to give you the consent because you are just observing what they are doing. But do not so much intervene into what they are doing. Respect them, do your thing, do your research. In case you're to take any pictures, that's where now you have to go to someone. Let's say pictures of a business. Perhaps you want to see the public health of that business. By public health, I mean you want to perform a diagnosis on that particular business. You want to see whether it is health. You get it? Yes. However, so reach out to them and first ask for their consent to accept for you to take that picture. That's what we mean. In case you're to observe anything, do it ethically and respect them. So researchers must also consider the potential impact of their presence on the behavior being observed. I think that one is clear. That problem you are trying to investigate, ensure that it has your presence has a potential impact on it. In the definition of terms, if you remember, I talked about ethical review boards. We can also call them institutional review boards. Some committees call them research ethics committees in certain countries or certain universities or certain institutions. They call them research ethics committees. The general term is institutional review board. You get it? Eh? But I gave the definition. I guess people were attentive there and know what it means. Here, I tried to provide the role of these IRBs, institutional review boards. One, thorough review of your research proposals. This is where you submit your research proposal. You try to come up with your research design, illustrate it in the research proposal, submit it to the review board. They review, they tell you changes and where they are necessary. And in case there is no changes, in case your protocol is authentic, they accept that please go on and collect your data. Ensure participants provide informed consent. That is also another role of these IRBs. They ensure participants consent before participating in the study. The third role is they evaluate measures put in place. What are you having in place to ensure that you protect the rights and welfare of your participants? You get it? That is done by these institutional review boards. Another one is ensure researchers, they make sure that researchers ensure ethical guidelines and regulations. I think that one is clear. They make sure that people, the research are following the rightful protocol in research. They do not coerce participants. You get it? And anything in line with not following the ethical standards. So, this is just a note regarding these institutions. IRBs ensure ethical standards in research involving human subjects. How? By providing an oversight, guidance, and protection for participants. It is a general comment. It is a general comment. You get it? Yeah. We have come to an end of this lecture for today. And in conclusion, please note that researchers must adhere to ethical principles. Researchers must adhere to ethical principles such as honesty, be honest, transparency, be transparent, respect your participants, and then accountability to ensure that your work is valid and reliable, to ensure validity and reliability of their work. I guess today's lecture has been a good one. We have been discussing about research ethics, and this marks the end of this